The Wyatt Six are turning things up to another level, so we'll see what's happening there. We'll also check out what's going on with the Mysterios, AJ Lee, and more. Starting things off with a rare public reunion picture for Rey Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio. Ever since their brutal on-screen split back in late 2022, Rey and Dominik have been committed to their storyline roles of despising each other, both on-screen and off the screen. If you see them on-screen together in WWE, chances are that they're going at it, or exchanging verbal blows at each other. And off-screen, you just never see them together to keep that realism there and alive that they really can't stand each other. But this week marked a rare instance where they forgot about that narrative, but for a very touching and emotional reason. Rey Mysterio just recently lost his father, which was obviously Dominik and Aaliyah's grandfather. So each family member honored Rey's father's legacy with a post. Rey shared his emotional farewell message to his father on his Instagram, while Aaliyah shared her own message and collection of family photos. One of the photos Aaliyah shared was a recent photo of Rey, Dominik, and herself posing with Rey's parents. The family has been doing as much as they can for Rey's father in recent months. They've been getting him all the food he's been wanting. They took him to the Padres playoff game. They even got a tattoo of his signature on their bodies. Aaliyah Mysterio even revealed that her grandfather said he hid some letters and notes under the picture frames in the house. So the family went on a scavenger hunt to find those as well. So a big rare reunion in the public eye for Rey and Dominik Mysterio as they suffered this big family loss. There's been a small update regarding some trademark concerns for Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland could not use his signature name of Edge in AEW, obviously for trademark related issues. But what Adam Copeland did get away with using in AEW was the nickname of the Rated R Superstar. Copeland was able to get his hands on that nickname since WWE gave up and abandoned the rights to it back in 2020, so it was fair game for Adam Copeland to bring that with him to AEW. Same thing goes for his iconic theme song that will be brought over, all things that WWE technically does not own. Well, new reports claim that WWE has allegedly filed for the new trademark rights to Edge, with the overall feeling that they did not put in this claim expecting for him to return to WWE. But the claim is to stop and fully lock down the Edge name, so it does not somehow slip out of their fingers and give them the right to use the name in AEW. So this trademark filing seems to be all related to the idea of blocking Copeland from finding some loophole to use Edge in AEW. They let the Rated R Superstar rights slip through the cracks, and it appears they do not want to make the same thing happen to the Edge monkier. The Wyatt Six and the Final Testament both dropped some words on each other this week on Raw that continue to set up their tone for the feud. The Miz started things off by bragging about his acting performance and how he was able to fool the Wyatts into thinking they successfully changed him. Karrion Kross jumped in by saying that he's not scared of the Wyatt Six and how they'll continue to play the game that he's controlling. Bo Dallas responded back to them already apologizing for what's coming next, saying that it isn't what he originally wanted and how Kross and The Miz are about to lose everything that they have. Fans also pointed out how it looked like even Bo Dallas took inspiration from his brother's looks here for this specific promo. Bo has his long black hair dropping down in front of his face with a long black beard, instantly giving everyone vibes of Bray Wyatt from early in Bray's career, when his WWE appearance and look was exactly identical to how Bo appeared in this vignette. But the game board is pretty fair and balanced out right now between both sides. The Wyatt Six have had a week where they looked dominant and wiped out the entire Final Testament. And the Final Testament had a week where they were the strong ones and wiped out the Wyatts. And now we see them equally exchanging some heavy words. Karrion Kross swears he's the one controlling the game, right? And the Wyatts are the only one making moves that he's allowing them to make, while the Wyatts swear they're about to take everything from Kross. So they mostly are all tied up in every sense of this feud at this given moment, and we just gotta see who's gonna really live up to their word and pull away from this tie that they're at the moment. CM Punk recently spoke with Peter Rosenberg and actually had a lot to say about the idea of his wife, AJ Lee, returning to WWE. CM Punk shared his belief that AJ's return would be much bigger than his own return to WWE. CM Punk had this to say about that entire idea of AJ returning to the ring. Quote, "She 100% supersedes me. That's the fun thing about wrestling fans. They look for stuff that necessarily isn't there. That's kind of the fun of it. Everyone is talking about who's going to main event WrestleMania, who's going to enter the Royal Rumble, who is going to come back. They are always looking around this time of year for big returns. I had mine last year. I think hers would be bigger than mine. But again, I'm kind of hands off on the deal. It's more of a workload thing for her. She is very busy. I'm not trying to not talk about it, but I'm also trying to temper people's expectations. If she wraps up some stuff that she's working on and she has the time and she feels like dipping her toe back in or jumping back in the pool, she'll let us know. I definitely think she would thrive here. She thrived back then when the focus wasn't women. And now, this past week, every single television show we had opened with a women's match and main evented with a women's match. You can't tell me she wouldn't fit in there." End quote. CM Punk also said that yes, he does feel like his own return did spark some interest for AJ to consider wrestling again. But Punk says that the main issue of what's stopping the return from happening is AJ's current schedule and lack of free time. That's what's making the return, or even cameo appearance, impossible from happening. Punk did mention that something that's very true there towards the end of his remarks, and that's the fact that AJ will surely thrive in any era, because we've already seen her thrive in the most difficult situations. And he's right. You go back to the peak of AJ's run in WWE, you're talking about right around that 2012 to 2014 era. That era was very much still some dark days for the women's division. They only had one title, and it was not even labeled as a women's championship. It was labeled as the Divas title with a giant butterfly centerpiece. Women's matches would very rarely get over a few minutes in this era, and opportunity for the women were extremely thin. But given all those bad odds, AJ still found a way to break through and become not only the face of the women's division at the time, but she was also heavily involved with programs and stories with WWE's biggest male stars at the time, like John Cena, CM Punk, Kane, Daniel Bryan, and many more. So Punk feels like if AJ found a way to break through when no real opportunities existed for the women back then, he thinks she'll have a very easy time in current day, where there's nothing but opportunities galore for the women's division everywhere you look. You got 2 world titles, a mid-card title, tag team titles, and an actual platform to have a match that's longer than 2 minutes long. So CM Punk feels like this would be a cakewalk for AJ this time around, compared to her first run that was really about scratching and clawing. And even CM Punk can vouch for how great things are in current day for the locker room. No one was more vocal with their locker room frustration than CM Punk in years past. But now he seems very happy with the current regime. So if there's anyone to convince AJ that things will be smooth and fun, it's definitely her husband, who's experiencing everything firsthand. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.